All right, everybody. Our next social media expert is burning up Pinterest. She is the host of the Positive Productivity Podcast. She is a mom, a wife, and just a kick-ass person all around. Our good friend Kim Sutton has joined us today from the lovely Buckeye State in Ohio. But she is just an absolute expert in what she does. She works with a lot of entrepreneurs, helps them put their funnels together, helps them with the marketing stuff. Not sure what you were going to cover today, Kim. I know you've got a variety of nuggets to share with the audience out here today, but thanks for being here on Social Media Day 2020.
Thanks for having me, Scott.
Glad to have you. Now, do you have slides you want to dive into, a specific topic, or just back and forth?
I did prepare slides just in case, because I know with Pinterest, which I know a lot of people don't know is so powerful and so powerful a tool that you could be using without taking up a lot of time. And I know it's so visual, so I did prepare slides. But
okay, cool. Let's do that, because even Chris was just talking. I've spent time on Pinterest, and I'm like, hey, that's great. And I knew we got you coming up. I was like, okay, perfect. Yeah. So if you want to share your screen, and then we'll take some questions, and I'll field questions and comment in, because you're just a rock star when it comes to that, and you're going to blow some people away with your Pinterest strategy. But it works, and it's a great way for everybody to get the word out what they're doing. So I think if you just share, if you got your slides pulled up, or then hit share screen, it should.
I do, but okay, I am such a noob. I don't do. Let me see if I can get this to work right, because sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. So I wanted to see if I can get it to play, and if not, then I'll just do. Come on, you. Play now. That would be awesome. So is it actually showing starting slideshow right now, or is it just showing?
It is.
Okay, I do tech all day, every day, you know that. But for some reason, me and my Keynote just...
Look at that.
Yes, okay. Thank you for giving me this safe platform to test my Keynote skills on. So I'm going to jump right in, because I know our time here is limited today, and I know you all want to get as many golden nuggets as you can. But here's the common misconception, and I'm just going to get straight to the point, is that a lot of people think that Pinterest is for women, number one, looking for clothes, crafts, and recipes. And I'll tell you that is so wrong. And I can prove it with me, because on the left, you're going to see, this is the type of crafts that happen in my house. My kids have been watching The Greatest Showman for months and months. It was like on auto loop. And this is the type of craft that they did. They decided to make their Barbie into a bearded woman. But I am not a chef. I burn just about every single meal I make. I am not a shopaholic. There's pretty much nothing I like less than shopping for stuff. I'm not a regular crafter, although I did knit my wedding dress, and I am not the all-American supermom. I know you can read it all here, but I'm just going to sum it up. I curse in front of my kids. I start the food fights. I draw mustaches on my kids' faces with permanent marker. You know, I'm not who you would expect to be on Pinterest if you're going at the typical stereotype, but I am still getting 1.3, well, when the screenshot was taken, which was before quarantine and before everybody had their kids suddenly at home with them, I was getting about 1.2, 1.3 million monthly viewers on Pinterest without spending any more than really a couple hours a month doing legwork or having my team do it for me. So the way that I really want to sell you into it is by showing you the numbers. And you can see here that there's over 335 million monthly active users on Pinterest. And a quarter of those are from the US, but that means that your audience on Pinterest is worldwide. And while 71% of the users are female, 40% of new signups are men. And I know that one of my male clients who I got starting to use Pinterest has been putting his podcast up, and he's seeing tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of views of his audiogram pins that he puts up, just a little 1 to 2 minute or sometimes 30-second to 2-minute trailers or previews, commercials, whatever you want to call it, for his podcast episodes. And those are linking back to his show notes page, and it's driving a ton of traffic to his site, which he didn't have beforehand. And what I love the most is that half of Pinterest users earn over $50,000 a year. So this is not a market. This is not a user base with no money. This is a user base that does have money, and they are looking for inspiration and for suggestions on what to buy for their business or for their personal life. Scott, tell me if you need me to slow down or if there's any questions. My Pinterest success strategy is the E3 Pinterest success strategy. And the 3 steps are: make it easy to find you. And this is where I personally struggled when I started. The second one is eye appeal, is buy appeal. And the third one is engage and interact. Now, I know that you're going to be hearing a lot today about how engaging and interacting. I make up words on positive productivity all the time. Interacting, you're going to be hearing a lot about that today, but building rapport and building relationships is really key. So we're not really going to be diving into the engage and interact. But one of the most important keys for you to know today is that Pinterest is not a social media platform as much as it is a search engine. So people go on to Pinterest the same as they go on to Google or YouTube, or is Yahoo or Bing, are they even still around? But they go there and they search for stuff. They're not necessarily going on to build relationships, although the engaging and the interacting can be key. So I just want you to remember that it is a search engine, because that comes into play when you are thinking about what you're naming your pins. And at the top here, you can see, and I've been modifying this a little bit, but the path to a book launch with Angela J. Ford. Now, I used to, and this is for one of my podcast episodes, I used to name my episodes, for example, with Angela, I would have said Angela J. Ford from, and then put her company name. But people didn't necessarily know who she was, and they didn't know what her company name was, but they might have been looking for resources when it came to launching a book. I love, by the way, I heard the tail end of the previous presentation with the one thing. I love that book. I'm so curious about that book launch. But seeing as I'm writing a book myself, I'm so curious. I'm looking on Pinterest now for resources about a successful book launch. And because this pin now has it right there in the title, as well as in the description, which you can see at the bottom, it says Angela J. Ford and Kim Sutton discuss the experiences and advice, and it talks more about book launch. And I put the keyword in over and over again. And it's just like setting up a post or a page on your website. You really want to have your title and your description and the title of your image. So when you're downloading it from Canva, you want to make sure that you've titled it appropriately. So this one actually was named The Path to a Book Launch with Angela J. Ford, because it's the metadata that Pinterest looks at. And when they see book launch in the name of the image and in the title of the pin and in the description, they know that when somebody goes and searches for book launch, hey, this might be a good place to go. I'm only on 1 cup of coffee today, and I feel like I'm on super speed talk. So that's the first thing that you want to do. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just on super caffeinated mode. After you name your images properly and you get your description done, you also want to give some thought to what your brand or what your boards are called. And I don't want to scare anybody who's watching, but I have over 100 boards on my Pinterest account, but it's taken 5 to 6 years to get 100 boards. So I don't want you to think, oh my gosh, what am I going to do them on? As I hear myself in the podcast or on my blog or in my YouTube videos talking about the same content over and over again, I've started to add these boards to Pinterest because I've realized, hey, this is something that seems to be important with me and my brand. And then it's not just my pins that are on these boards. I think that's really important to mention, is that when you see in the authenticity board that there's 177 different pins, 2 to 5 of them might be mine, and the others have been pinned from other people's boards. And that's how the engagement and interaction starts to work. But you can see that each of the boards has been branded for positive productivity because the gear is my logo. and then I put the name of the board on each one. And then I have the same template that's used for each of my podcast episodes. I'm going back and forth about this because some people will think, oh, I've already seen that one. They may not even pay attention to the fact that the episode name has changed and it's a different guest. So I've even been trying some audiograms myself, and I think I'm going to be doing more of that in the future, especially seeing how it's working with my client. And then this is for my YouTube videos. I pin them. I'm also adding them to my site as a vlog. So each one of these pins back to my website, and is whether it be for your podcast or your blog or your vlog, always point to your site, because the more Google sees people going to your site, the higher reputation they're going to consider you to have, and the more traffic they're going to send, because they're going to put you up higher in the organic search results. And then these are some of my, the previous slide was pictures of me for blog and vlog posts. And then these are some without me. I'm testing to see if people do or do not like me in the pictures. Personally, I see enough of me in the mirror every day.
I was going to ask you, you're seeing better hits with you or without you?
It's hit or miss. Sometimes the ones with me go really great. Sometimes they don't. So I'm just doing, this is not, solid proof testing, but I'm doing whatever feels good to me. And that's how I tend to do my business. So, and when I have more people on my team, then we'll definitely have one of each. We're just not there yet. So at this point, it's get it up, get it out, and help the people who need it. Right?
That makes sense.
Yeah, progress over perfection. Size does matter, folks. You want your Pinterest graphic, so the ones that lead back to your content, to be tall, like skyscrapers. And this is the size of the template that you can find in Canva. It's 735 pixels wide by 1102 tall. So please do not put in the short and fat images to lead back to your site. And if you need to, do square, but whenever you can, go tall. With audiograms, I know square is often common, or maybe a little bit shorter. For that, I understand, but if you can get it to be tall, do it, because you want to take up as much real estate when people are scrolling inside the feed as you possibly can. And then the board covers, those are square. It's really simple. I use the Instagram template from Canva, copy it over and over again, and that's 1080 by 1080. So it really doesn't take a lot of time, especially when you have tools like Canva or PicMonkey or whatever your tool of choice is. They have the templates that you can use, so I definitely recommend it. I just sped through that a lot faster than I meant to, I meant to change out the link at the bottom, but I'll get the right link. I'm going to stop the share and I'll grab that link. But Scott, you've seen yourself that Pinterest, you've seen how numbers have grown. You've seen how podcasters that we know, their numbers have grown using Pinterest. What type of success have you seen, or have you played with it at all?
I'm playing with it a little bit. I have, after seeing the success that you have, and here's the thing that stood out when we're both friends of JJ Flazanes, and JJ said that, she has a Pinterest account and logged in and saw that she was getting 1 million hits on that stuff. And she was like, I'm just basically posting something. She's like, I got to spend a little more time on here. And if you've got any audience, it's not just for women, as you said before, although it is 85% women aspect of there. It is more of a search engine than a social stuff. So posting, and I ran downstairs real fast. Did you share all your boards, a picture of all your boards and the different kind of categories that you have? Did you ever share that image?
Yeah, I did share that.
Okay.
Well, but I didn't share, though, that, and this is a question that I get a lot, because a lot of people already have a personal Pinterest account, and then they're wondering, well, should I start a separate one for business? Well, I have my personal and my professional all on one account, and that's what actually drives more traffic. And I might do another quick screen share to show how I separate the two of those. So I'm saying no, don't separate those two out, because people buy from people.
Oh, I just lost her. She does have a good point. She'll be back on in a second. People do buy from people. People get a chance to know you. People see what you're interested in. That's what the thing, when you start aligning and narrowing that focus, this is why you can't be all to everybody. Can't be one thing to everybody. You got to realize that you are not going to be everybody's cup of tea, whether it's in business or life, and that's A-okay. You can be different. That's the beautiful thing why God made us all unique on that stuff, is just be yourself. And Kim does a great job. I love the fact that anytime she's got an article, a blog, a podcast, she's usually got it in one or two or three different categories, and then she can share that to her board by pinning it and being active in that, making sure that everybody's still here. Yeah, okay, she'll be on here in just a second. But that's the thing when it comes to the Pinterest side of things, whether it's your videos, whether it's your blog post, your photos, your quotes, or other things that you find valuable, other quotes, other images, things that you can share as well, and share to the board and identify things. You know, a big thing obviously is recipes. About things is we live in such a visual society. One thing that we've been doing a lot with lately, obviously I've been cooking from home quite a bit more. And so taking and sharing images of the food and the menus or the ingredients and instructions, that kind of start to share that out there as well there. So there she is. She's back.
I think I accidentally pushed leave meeting instead of.
Okay. I was just simply saying, be yourself, and kind of going into why it's okay to still be yourself, and then talking a little bit how you kind of, whenever you share a blog or an article, you just got 2 or 3 keywords that you're sharing across multiple boards, right?
Yeah. You know what? I just realized I pushed leave instead of share. Positive productivity. You've heard it, Scott, not about perfection. I kept on talking too. So I was just showing that, my personal boards are up here, and they're the turquoise one. And then I go down and I go into, no, these are my business boards. And then I go down into my personal boards, which are purple, because people buy from people. And my most commonly visited boards of all my boards are, I'm an introvert, and this one margarita pin on my margarita board is getting a ton of traffic. I mean, there's only one pin on the whole board. I gave up drinking the week after I started this board. So it's just so funny, it's still driving traffic, but I'm not going to take it down. But yeah, the people buy from people. I'm always curious to see. And I get questions sometimes like, Kim, you have a tattoo board? Yeah, I have tattoos. I mean, people don't really expect it from me a lot of the time. So I love for people to get a little inside look. I really need a board that says, I burn food. Recipes for people who can't cook.
When you overcook the Brussels sprouts, right?
Oh, absolutely. So I really wasn't expecting Pinterest to do anything for me. I just started. One day I got this crazy idea, and I decided to pin some of my podcast episodes to my podcast board, and then it just started avalanching uphill. I don't know what that's called, but accelerating. Mm-hmm. And I went from getting about 5,000 monthly viewers in November of 2018 to 1.3 million. And I do have a tool I use, because I know there's people are wondering. I use Tailwind. And right now I have all my pins scheduled through the end of the year. I pin about 12 pins a day, but they're already pre-scheduled. And then I go in when I remember, and I see what's interesting. Usually is those off moments when I'm in the bath with my phone and, go in and interact. But it really doesn't take a lot of energy, but people are looking for your content, and it's your responsibility to share it. And when there's tools out there like Pinterest it is a search engine, as I already said, people are looking for your stuff. So give them the ability to.
What would you say is the 2 or 3 biggest things that they need to do to launch their Pinterest, or the simple things? If you look at your boards, that can be a little intimidating, like, oh my gosh, that's a Library of Congress Dewey Decimal System kind of board aspect of things, but it doesn't have to be that complicated. Starting somewhere is better than doing nothing, right?
Yeah, I would brainstorm on 5 to 10 topics that you discuss with your clients or with your community most often, and then create a board for each of those. And so that's step one. And then step two, go into Canva and quickly create a template, a branded image for that. It doesn't take long. You don't need to hire a designer. Just use your colors if you have one, or put your logo somewhere on it. So people know, you put a little bit of thought into this, because that's one of the sad things that I see a lot is people will spend, $10,000 to $20,000 on their websites, and then they forget how their social media profiles look. Like they don't do anything to their cover images on LinkedIn or Facebook, and they don't brand out their Pinterest boards. But you could do it in 20 minutes, or get a cheap VA to design one for you. So that would be step number 2, is design the covers, and then spend maybe 10 minutes a day doing searches for each of those different themes in Pinterest, and then repinning those to your boards. And in 10 minutes a day, when people see that you're sharing their stuff to your boards, they're going to be like, oh, what's going on here? And they'll start following you. And that 1.3 million monthly views, I think I have, and I'm just going to go quickly look if I can. I have 2,000 followers. So it's not like it even took a lot of followers to get there.
Wow. So you get 1.2 million monthly views, 2,000 followers. So they're looking at 60 things. Is that right? Is my math right on that? 60? That'd be 600 things on average.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just followers, but we know that's not all followers, right?
Right, absolutely. And I do want to say, just if you go over to my profile right now, my monthly views is down, and I know that tends to be the case across all social media, is what I'm seeing. I mean, there's a lot of other people like me who have had their kids suddenly, 4 months earlier than planned, come home. So the time just isn't there. In my case, I had to be a lot more focused, and my social media time has been cut drastically to make sure I can get everything done. But so I have to put some of the lesser views to that. And I also haven't been engaging as much, so I'm going to give it part of that. So, don't see where you're at right now. Start a little consistent action. Maybe it's only 2 minutes a day. Maybe it's 5 minutes a day, and see where it gets to from there on out. If you have if you have any blog articles, any YouTube videos, any podcast episodes, though, even if it's you're a guest on somebody else's blog or podcast, start adding those to the appropriate boards. And I say boards because you might talk about various topics, and it doesn't belong on just one board.
But this allows for you to really kind of catalog your interests and start getting connected back and forth a little bit, whether it's your business, whether it's like just funnels, or it's also with your podcast, or it's also with the events you go to, or the events you host, or your passions in sports or cooking, and really people getting to see a full picture of the man or the person that you are, and really connecting on a more personal basis. Like we found when we did our last mastermind group with a bunch of our coaching students, we found that a lot of them homeschooled their kids. And then another big portion were in a band, were musically inclined, which are great kind of things to drive create a board about, or be connected in with other people that fall in the same interest, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that you know this. A lot of people don't, but I'm a video gamer. My husband's a video game designer. When he found out that I played games when we started dating, he was totally hot, like, oh my gosh, I found a girl who plays World of Warcraft. I don't play it anymore, but yeah, I did. And we're a gamer family. And I was searching for something on the game that we play together just this week, and I found tons of Pinterest boards about it, and I was like, I hadn't thought about starting a Pinterest board. Okay, if anybody's wondering, if you're a gamer, we play Ark Survival Evolved, and we're taming and breeding dinosaurs. And I was looking for information about one of the dinosaurs, because now my 5 and 6 year olds are playing, and there it was. And I was like, holy moly, I should start, screenshotting my dinosaurs and make a Pinterest board. People don't expect you. I talk about productivity, and I'm a gamer. Yeah, you can do both.
Are you live streaming via Twitch?
Donnie Bovine suggested that I do that, And I don't know, I just can't bring myself to take it totally public. You're hearing it here, folks, and podcast listeners have heard it too, but I'm afraid that one of these days somebody will find my Steam handle and see just how many hours I've put into this game in the last 6 years. Like, my business will go down in a second.
Well, but
But
the important thing, you've carved out time so you can have fun doing that, and that's your connection. Hey, that's your connection versus just watching a Game of Thrones for 12 hours straight. That's nothing wrong to connect with. Now, you spend how much time on your Pinterest profile on a weekly basis? Let's just say average. If it was what you're doing with Pinterest, how much time are you spending on there, Kim?
it's like a monthly basis, 1 to 2 hours.
So 1 to 2 hours, because you've set the things up. Now it's easy to bring stuff over and reuse things that you're using in other aspects, right?
Yeah, like Tailwind I have a smart loop feature set up, so it will repin my podcast episodes, my blog articles, anything that I've told it to. I'm even making tall Pinterest graphics now and pointing them to my Instagram profile, to the appropriate pin. So it's even repinning those. So it's constantly driving people cross-platform. And it's repinning all of this. And then I also have, I'm in what's called Tailwind Tribes. So I'm resharing their content too. And I'm already pre-scheduled through the end of the year. So I go on, just to see what's new. And I really don't need to keep on scheduling in advance, but I want to keep the connection there and the engagement and the interaction. So usually, to be totally honest, that used to be a Sunday night while watching Game of Thrones thing. And now, yeah.
Well, but that's okay. From a laptop or cell phone, you can do so many things. And how often, what would you say if you shared something on one platform, and how much further in the future would you schedule to reshare it? Every month, a week later, every 6 days, what?
Yeah, Pinterest doesn't like it if you do it any more frequent than every 30 days. So I would say, 45 days, 60 days. Don't go any more frequently than that, or else and they don't even like you to do any more than 12 pins a day. I used to do 30, and I really didn't see a difference in my monthly views when I was doing that many more. And I think I've started to really see that across all my everything I do in my business. Quality over quantity, less is more. Just make sure that what you're doing is really valuable and really worth it for your people.
Makes a lot of sense there. What's the best way for people to reach out to you, Kim, to connect with you, talk with you? And you work with other marketers and entrepreneurs out there to help them with their stuff as well too, don't you?
Yeah, I'm all about helping my clients work smarter, not harder. So business and marketing automation all the way. And you can find me at thekimsutton.com. Make sure to put the in it, because somebody else got the website before I did. But I do have a gift, and Scott, I'll know they're coming from here if they come through. But if you need inspiration, I put it into chat, but I'm sure there was a better way. If you need inspiration on how to set up your Pinterest board covers and, really brand them out for you, you can go to thekimsutton.com/Pinterest-lookbook. And you'll get the free lookbook, and you can get inspired. And it really doesn't take much at all to go.
No, not at all. It's really put together really, really well. I love that tool, and I really enjoy it. And just love hanging with you, Kim. It's great to see you. Awesome. We got to hang out some in Orlando before all the craziness hit out there. It's going to be a crazy rest of the year as well. You guys be safe up there in Ohio. Have fun, and we'll talk soon. All righty.
Yeah, talk soon. Thanks for having me, Scott.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you. Great stuff as always on your stuff. Keep rocking along, guys and gals. Take advantage of it. thekimsutton.com/Pinterest-lookbook. And we'll try to get that in the Facebook profile link. Or if you want to go on the feed, Kim, and then put that in the feed, it'd be great if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'll do that right now.
Okay, perfect. But thanks so much, Kim. We'll see you later.
Thanks, Scott. Bye-bye.